Friday afternoon talk radio. Fun and games in the Quad Cities. Well, let's see. This is Bobby in Chicago. Good afternoon, Bobby. You're on WOC.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. Now, before I get to it, I need to make sure I understand your opinion on something, since you seem to be anti-communist, which, as I am too myself. Are you for a society like America having things like strip clubs and pornographies and things like that?
Yeah.
You are? Okay. So...
Well, you understand speech. I don't go as far as the Supreme Court does. Mm-hmm. I do think that you can regulate that the same way, for example, with firearms. You can have some reasonable regulation on firearms. We can take a club that has naked ladies walking around in it, and we can say, no, you can't bring your 10-year-old son in there.
Right, no. Okay, fair enough. No, I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I just wanted to understand your opinion.
Well, sure, so, that's just liberty.
There's a little bit of a hypocrisy here. The hypocrisy is, aren't you the same person who would not vote for Ron Paul because of his lack of values for prostitution and things like that you mentioned?
No, that's not true. I told you that Ron Paul and I have one real basic difference. Drugs. Now, okay, I am a person adamantly opposed to vials of heroin, and I have been in clubs in Bangkok, Thailand, where they sold these. Mm-hmm. Vials of heroin stuck into the top of a little bit of a cork, and a waitress walking around to the table selling them to you. And I'm violently opposed. That's absolutely wrong.
Okay, so on the one hand, you don't want high taxes, which I'm with you. So I'm with you.
Oh, sure.
A guy
I
like
told you,
Ron
the
Paul,
only place I disagree with you guys is drugs.
No, that's fine. But hear me on this. If a guy like Ron Paul puts your income taxes to zero, and you're not for him because you stated, and I'm not saying you're wrong or right, you stated your opinion about the whole drugs thing, fine. On the other hand, you don't mind strip clubs and pornography. You don't recognize a contradiction there?
No.
In terms of values?
No. You understand, most young men, and that's an overstatement, there's a lot of really moral young men. So let me say a lot of young men go through a period of their lives where they go to strip clubs and stick dollar bills into G-strings of strippers. A lot of men do that.
Okay.
Well, it isn't addictive. It isn't cocaine. It isn't heroin. It isn't methamphetamine. Now, what you guys seem to have a hard time understanding, if we ever say yes to that, and see, I've been in cultures where they did. This is why you hear this rock hard no. In Hong Kong, you could go into what they called an opium, like a hotel, where these guys slept 6 bunks high, and they were smoking these little 25-cent things of opium. Mm-hmm. And you could take your finger and thumb and touch them around their leg. They were dying because they would rather have that opium than anything else on earth. I mean, this is just real life. Those of us who were been in those countries, we had that experience, and you're not going to...
There's a couple of holes there. Number one, when you...
No, there are no holes there, sir.
Let me point out the Swiss cheese. I'll tell you right now, there's plenty of holes.
No, sir, there aren't. Okay, sir, you are a pro-drug person who wishes to kill 16-year-old kids. We have thousands of those 16-year-old kids dying in this country today. The Mexican mafia is up here shooting up. You said Bobby from Chicago. Hey, Bobby, what the hell's causing all the dead bodies in your town?
So by this logic...
Come on, Bobby. I'm asking you now. Bobby, what's causing the dead bodies in your town?
I'm answering.
Go ahead. Say drugs.
By that logic, you're pro-strip club and pornography.
Say drugs. Bobby, say drugs.
So say strip club pornography.
No, Bobby. Strip club pornography is not causing dead bodies in Chicago, and you darn well know it. Now, what's causing the dead bodies? Come on, Bobby. Yeah. What's causing the dead bodies in Chicago? You called from there.
Yeah.
Drugs.
I understand. Yeah, I understand, but you're
answer that. I want you to say what is causing the dead bodies in your town, and we both know what it is. Drugs.
Okay, so... Can you hear me out of this? Can you just hear me out?
Well, there isn't any so you're on a losing proposition trying to say I should vote.
You won't listen to me.
Well, let's see. We've been on the air roughly 8 minutes. That's twice as
you've done
long as I give anybody else.
And you've done most of the talking. Just hear me
Okay,
out.
I'll give you 2. Go.
Okay, so you said a lot of men go to strip clubs. I agree. You mentioned how a lot of people in the world are in Hong Kong and Macau or whatever. They're doing a lot of crap drugs. Okay, by this logic, you can also say lots of men do marijuana. Is doing marijuana not a gateway drug? Does it not cause problems? If you regulate pornography in strip clubs, do drugs and hooker stuff not happen in the background there, even if you're regulated?
You know, it's hard to be quiet when you're being that dumb.
Okay.
That really is dumb. You understand, there's no comparison between Playboy magazine with naked women in it.
I'm not talking about Playboy magazine.
The hell you're not. Okay, this is men looking at pornography. Playboy magazine, that's where it started.
Clubs. How about strip clubs?
Well, just a second. Now, there's no comparison between that and heroin. None. Zip.
And how about
Zero.
marijuana? How about marijuana?
See, anywhere you want to be a little piece of jello, a little drug dealer who can't get nailed to the wall. Now, let me ask you something. You got a daughter?
You asked me the same question.
You got
I
a
don't have
daughter? You got a daughter?
No, I don't.
When you get one, can I turn her on to cocaine?
Well, wait, do you have a daughter?
Yeah. Don't you
if she
dare
wants to go to a
even,
strip club or pornography,
don't
is that
you
okay with
even dare think of turning her on to cocaine. You know, one of the things that I think we ought to have in our laws is to come after guys like you that say we should be able to prostitute out our daughters for cocaine.
You're for strip clubs and pornography. What are you talking about?
No, sir. You didn't ask me if I was for prostitution, did you?
Okay, so you selectively pick and choose what you like and don't like.
Yeah,
That's how
I
you wanna
do,
run a
just
society.
like everybody. Now, I have some morals. You don't.
Where are your morals when
you
you go to a
favor?
strip club
We'll
and
do
pornography?
one more thing here. You favor prostitution, do you
No,
not?
I don't.
You're kidding. You're a Rand
No,
Paul
I
libertarian?
don't. No, I'm consistent. Unlike you, you're anti-Ron
No,
Paul
sir.
because you claim
You
like
are
drugs.
not telling me the truth because Rand Paul libertarian favors prostitution.
No, he does not. That's your
Okay,
twisted way of looking.
at that note, when we're doing fairy tales, I got to go because I've had those guys on the air here. Thank you, Bobby, for calling. Ladies and gentlemen, there is never, ever, ever going to be a time when any civilized nation can legalize mind-bending drugs. We can't do that. We just can't. And all of the propaganda from the drug dealers aside, and I will tell you that in my personal opinion, that political party is funded by the Mexican mafia. That's my personal opinion, and I'm entitled to it. I can't think of anybody sane with a kid that would give money to a bunch of drug dealers. You know, it's tough enough to raise a child in America in the 21st century without having pimps and drug dealers standing on the corner going after your sons and daughters. Have I been blunt enough?